We are live. Welcome everybody
It says live now.
Welcome everybody. So good to be here with Laura. This is our first episode of Live Intentionally. And I'm super excited to be here with my friend Laura. And she's a yoga teacher and body confidence advocate. And we're going to talk all about this. But first of all, I would like to know a little bit more about your journey. So would you like to share a little bit of your journey, maybe how you started with yoga and how you became a yoga teacher? How was that for you?
Okay, hi everybody. Welcome to Isabel's show. Lovely to be here. Thank you, Isabel, for inviting me on here. So when I was younger, I used to weigh quite a bit more, and I went to the doctors because I was having some health problems. I was having heartburn, I was having sore feet, and my skin was breaking out in spots. And I went to the doctors and asked what I could do, mainly about my heartburn. The doctor told me that I was seriously overweight. And then that started my fitness journey. So it was a bit of a wake-up call, a bit of a realization. So I started going to the gym, and one of the first classes that I did at the gym was yoga.
Oh, really?
And that's how I found yoga. So I was doing all these crazy classes like body pump, spinning, body combat. I was doing swimming, going to the gym, and I wanted something that was going to support my joints, stretch me out after all that exercise, and that's how I found yoga.
Wow. So was it easy for you to start doing all these classes? And did you get was kind of like an addiction? Was that a passion to go to the gym and do the classes, or did you really struggle to start with that routine?
Yeah, it wasn't a passion at all.
No.
No. It was kind of a necessity, really. I knew I had to change my life and become healthy, so I started going to the gym. But it did get to the point, Isabel, where it became an addiction, and it was an addiction to weight loss. And I ended up losing 6 stone in total, but there was still a bit of a problem after all of that. I didn't get any confidence with that weight loss. So I'd lost all this weight, and although on the surface I was losing weight for health reasons, deep down inside me, I wanted to feel confident again, and I wanted to feel attractive, and I wanted to feel sexy as well.
Yeah.
So when I lost all that weight, I still didn't have the confidence that I wanted, and I still didn't feel attractive. I still felt quite ashamed of my body.
But how did you realize when you started that journey? How did you realize that you were doing that? The reasons were more than losing weight for health reasons. That you were actually looking for something more like inside, more personal, like body confidence.
Yeah. So I started my journey when I was about 21, 22. I was still quite young, and I would look at my friends, and they would be in relationships, and we would go out on nights out, and boys would approach them and not me. And I was living with my mum at the time. I was working really hard. I worked in a sales job, and I worked long hours. I didn't have a lot of time to myself, and I felt quite lonely, and as if, I'm never going to find a relationship that's never going to happen for me. And I thought that if I lost weight, then that would change things for me.
Oh, I see. Okay, yeah. So when you realized that it was more about confidence, body confidence, and you wanted everything that you mentioned in your life, but when you lost that weight, that wasn't there. What was your process? Was that, I imagine, was a big realization for you, no?
Yeah. So some of it was a big realization, and some of it was more gradual. Okay. So I lost the weight, and with that kind of weight loss, losing 6 stone, comes problems of its own. And this is really what the weight loss industry don't tell you. They don't like to shout about this stuff. And it's, excess skin, and I lost weight from places that I necessarily didn't want to lose weight. My boobs, for one, got quite a lot smaller. And when I was like wearing a yoga bra, I would have to wear a certain type of bra to keep my boobs strapped down, even though they were small and I'd lost weight. I still wasn't happy with that at all. So all these little things that I was hoping for by losing weight just didn't come. When I was going on holiday and wearing a bikini on the beach, I didn't feel confident then. I would hide, and I would prefer to wear a swimming costume than a bikini because I had excess skin on my stomach. So even although I lost weight, I didn't feel the confidence that I was hoping for, and I would still shy away. And then the realization for me came earlier on this year in March when I went to an advanced yoga teacher training program.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. So through yoga, we learn all about acceptance and comparison. When you're on your yoga mat, you don't compare yourself to anybody else. And it was taking that approach and applying it to my body, and then it was like a realization for me. Everything started to fall into place, and I started realizing the way I'd been treating myself and the way I'd been speaking to myself in my mind. And it was like a light switch moment.
Wow. So when did you say you started your yoga journey? How long ago?
Yeah, so it was in my early 20s. I'm 30.
So because it is a great point. So you started this yoga journey, you started this journey for yourself, but you had some small realizations and other bigger ones along the journey. And I think that's important to say, because I feel that sometimes students come to class and they want fast results and want things to happen on the mat right now, right there, transformation. And I think it's important to know and to share that, sometimes you will have aha moments right there on your mat, and sometimes it will take time. It's a process. Right?
Absolutely. Yeah, definitely. I find that as well. When I'm teaching yoga, I do have students that are looking for a quick fix, or even a fix in 4 weeks or 6 weeks. And this is completely different. This is like, so it's not a fad diet. It's not something that's going to be a flash in the pan. It's not something that you can just change overnight. It's something that you have to work at. And even although I had my big realization moment at the start of this year, it's something that I still have to work at every day. And it is going to be a lifetime's work, but it's bringing the awareness to that and knowing that you are working on that every single day. And every time you work on it, that's when you build the habit. So when those thoughts come in, when I see a picture of myself in a swimming costume now, I still have those thoughts, but it's learning to take those thoughts, and it's what you do with them to turn them around. And that takes practice, and it takes time to get into the habit of that. And then as you do it, the more and more it becomes second nature. It's like learning to ride a bike, or learning to drive a car. It takes practice. You're not just going to be able to jump in the driver's seat and drive on a 200-mile journey without doing some lessons first.
And I think that's so important that more people share that, because sometimes we want to go on this journey and we think that everything is going to be amazing, lots of transformation and lots of positivity, and I say affirmations, and that's it. No, it's not. And and yes, we'll have beautiful transformational moments, but sometimes it's hard, and we just have to stick with it and stay there and keep going and find the motivation to sometimes do it even though we don't want to. And like you said, it's noticing the triggers, because probably the triggers will be there, but we just gather tools to help us to how to deal with those triggers, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And it's like we say in yoga, the pose starts when you want to get out of the pose. And often, I've done so many fad diets in my time, and often, I'm thinking to myself, right, this is not working, I'm not going to do it anymore. And then I just sort of like throw it away. And if you've got that approach to yoga, then it's not going to have the effect. If you're sort of doing it 4 weeks or 6 weeks and then think, okay, I'm not having the effect I need here, and you throw it away, then it's kind of like when you're in the pose and you want to get out of it, that's when it really starts. It's that commitment to yourself to keep going with it and celebrating the little aha moments that you have on the mat and the little aha moments that you have when you realize that thought. And if I'm looking at a picture, for like that example, looking at a picture and thinking, I don't look good in that, I'm not going to post that picture, and then realizing where's that thought coming from, and then tuning into it and then managing to turn it around and just celebrating the fact that you've been able to do that.
Absolutely. Yeah, you touched on a very important point, just celebrate it, because personally, I'm learning to celebrate even the smallest things that actually they aren't that small, but in my mind, I see them as small. So small wins, I say, okay, it's done, moving on, but I don't have time to celebrate. So for me, I'm learning to, celebrate the things that in my mind are little, but maybe they are not so little. But it's such a very important point to keep celebrating and acknowledging, yes, I did it. I noticed it, and I how does it course directed? Is that so? I noticed the thought, and I just change how I react to it.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's like that with your body as well. When we get down into the actual body confidence part of it, it's like celebrating your own body. So for instance, with my story, one of the big things that I was having a real crisis of confidence at the start of this year, and it was all around being a yoga teacher. And I was looking at yoga teachers and seeing them with their toned arms, and Instagram plays a big part in this. When you see all the poses on Instagram, and I'm sitting there scrolling through looking at all these amazing yoga teachers and thinking, I'm not like that. I don't have a body shape like that. I'm never going to have a body shape like that. And then when I'm standing on the mat, all of a sudden these thoughts are coming up where I'm thinking, people are going to look at me and they're going to look at Instagram and think, she can't be that good of a teacher. She doesn't look like a yoga teacher, or her arms. I'll show you my arms just now. So this was one of the big issues for me, was having this excess skin after losing so much weight. But it's about celebrating what your body can do for you.
So what was your process in there? So how do you deal with that? Those kind of thoughts and comparison. So comparison, the thief of joy, as I found out recently. I heard that saying and I thought that is so true. It's such a good saying. When you look at someone else and you compare them to you, you start to count their blessings instead of counting your own. You come from a place of lack rather than a place of abundance, and you think, that person has this, that person has, thin legs or a toned stomach or whatever it is you're looking at, and you're counting their blessings. You're looking at yourself and saying, I don't have that. And then when you come from that place of lack, that's what you start to chase. If you think you don't have something, that turns into the thing that you want, and then you start chasing it. But unfortunately, we don't all have the same, fortunately, we don't all have the same body type. We're all unique. We all have different bodies. We all have different strengths in our body. We're all beautiful in our own unique ways. So when you start comparing yourself, you start to stop loving what you love about yourself. And it happens at a really young age because we're bombarded with all images on social media and on television and film. We see all these images of what the sort of ideal woman is supposed to look like. And it's a very, very narrow set of appearance, like a narrow set of appearances. Yeah. So you stop coming from a place of gratitude. And when you switch that on its head and you start to say thanks for what you have, or what I have, or what anyone who's listening has. In the case of my arms, I started thinking, well,
what do my arms do for me? Well, they do lots of things for me. Like I cook, I eat with my arms, I can clean with my arms, I do yoga with my arms, lots of yoga, down dog, handstands. I've got handstands,
I
yeah,
love
my
your
favorite.
handstands.
Absolutely love my handstands. So
Yeah.
like I've got strong arms, and when I started to look at it like that and come from a place of gratitude of my arms and actually acknowledge them, and I don't think I'd actually felt my arms for years. And then when I started to look at my arms in a completely different way, that's when I started to switch it around and start to appreciate my body. That was the first thing, sort of appreciate it, accept it, and then start to love it as a process in itself.
Yeah. I had a similar experience during this year about comparing myself, especially when I'm scrolling down on Instagram, and I came to realize that for me as a coach, the thing was there are already many coaches out there, so why me? And I started to realize that and appreciate my own story and how everyone has something to give. So Laura, for you, you help other people with their body confidence, and how do you help them, and why is it so important for you?
So it's really important for me. As I mentioned before, I worked in an office environment before. I worked in a sales job, and it was just, it didn't light me up, put it that way. It was like Groundhog Day for me. There was no purpose to it, no meaning. And with yoga, I can help people, and that feeling just gives me so much fulfillment. I've actually found a job now that fulfills me. So that's why it's personally important for me to be a yoga teacher, so that I can help other people. But with the body confidence, I'm about to launch a 6-week challenge in a few weeks' time. So that challenge will be taking people on a journey and teaching them the techniques that I've used and the tools that I've used that have helped me to get my body confidence back.
Wow.
To bring awareness to body shame and how body shame affects us and what we can do about it. And that's important to me because I've been in that position, and there's not a lot of help out there. Maybe I was looking in the wrong place, but certainly I didn't ever see any help around that area. And I know that it's a problem that a lot of women especially suffer with. And I just want to offer a solution to it, to be able to help people to transform their lives and realise that no amount of fad diets are going to bring your confidence back. You have to detox your mind before you can get your confidence back, really.
It's more of an inner work, right?
Absolutely.
What would you say that it's the one thing that you have realized as you've been on this journey, but most people struggle to realize? Or if you had one thing to say for people who don't have body confidence, what would that be?
Well, we've already touched on it, but the biggest thing for me, the number one thing, is comparison. Stop comparing. Just as soon as you notice it. Yeah, that is the number one for me, is comparison. And yoga can help with that. So start practicing yoga. If you're not doing yoga right now, just start practicing it. And it doesn't matter what style of yoga you're doing. Yoga will teach you how to not compare yourself and how to be more accepting of yourself as a natural path with yoga. But comparison for me, that's the main one.
Do you find that there's a theme that I'm really passionate about, which is parenting, and I find that also we go in a cycle with the body confidence, because many children, it's not just social media, but they start to hear certain things from their own parents. So I feel that we are repeating this cycle if we are not breaking the cycle of how we speak to ourselves. we are just passing it on to our children. And sometimes I imagine that parents don't even realize when they do comments like, oh, I don't like my tummy, or look at this, or they do certain kind of comments. Do you find that as well?
Yeah, absolutely. So when I was in primary 3, which, how old are you? Maybe 7 or 8. I remember going on a special K diet when I was 7 years old.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh my God. Do you remember what made you go on a diet?
I don't remember specifically, but my mum did used to do diets, and I think it was the advert on the television: a bowl of cereal for breakfast, a bowl of cereal for lunch, and slim down a dress size. And that's insane. And then when I was an adult, only a few years ago, maybe about, I don't know, maybe 4 years ago, I was on a diet again, and I was at my sister's house, and she said, would you like a bit of cake? And I said, oh no, I'm on a diet. And my niece was in the room, and she must have been about maybe 10 or 11 at the time. And she just turned around to me and she said, why are you on a diet? You're thin. And then the penny dropped for me that moment, and I thought to myself, what message have I just sent to my 10-year-old niece, that she thinks I'm thin, but I'm on a diet. So when she looks in the mirror and she's thin, she's going to think that she needs to go on a diet now. And then I was very conscious about what I said in front of any young people after that about going on diets.
Wow. Wow, that is amazing. And for everyone watching, if you have any comments, just or questions for Laura, comment below before we finish. And just to share a little bit on this topic, I remember when I was a teenager, I didn't like my legs, and I remember looking down, and I confess that it was only the last few years, maybe the last 3 or 4 years ago, that I made peace with my legs.
Good, that's amazing. Well done. I wish I could hear a lot more stories like that, because women tend to say, oh, I hate my bum, or I hate my legs, but they never say, oh, I really love my legs, I've got killer legs, or I love my arms. So I love hearing you say that, Isabel. Well done.
Yeah. So Laura, I know you have to go and teach. Just let everybody know where they can find you and more about your challenge, and if they want to take part, how they can get in touch with you.
Okay, fantastic. Thank you, Isabel, so much. So my challenge, I'm in the middle of putting it together. So I don't have a launch date yet, but it is in the pipeline. It will be sometime soon. So keep your eyes peeled for it. So you can find me on Instagram. Laura Aspinall Yoga is my Instagram handle. My Facebook page is also Laura Aspinall Yoga. And if you want to keep up to date with the launch of the 6-week challenge, then you can head to my website and sign up for my email list, and it'll be announced on there. So my website is lauraaspinallyoga.co.uk, and you'll be able to sign up there.
Awesome. So same Laura Aspinall for Facebook, Instagram, and website.
Yeah, Laura Aspinall Yoga. Yeah.
Cool. Yep. Laura, is there anything else that I didn't ask you, we didn't talk about, and you want to share, or any final thoughts?
Final thoughts is, if any of your listeners, Isabel, are suffering with body shame or low body confidence, then please just know that there is an answer out there. There is a solution to this. It's something that affects so many people, and you can do something about it. Reach out to Isabel, reach out to me, talk to us about it if you want more information, and stop comparing yourself. That's my final message.
Awesome. Laura, thank you so much for coming to this live with me. It's really great to connect with you, and I really appreciate your time. I know you were in between classes, so thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Isabel, for having me on. It's been really fun. Thank you for inviting me.
Thank you. Thank you so much for sharing such an important theme and for sharing your journey as well. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you. Bye.
Bye, everyone.